Welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on Lockdown Wednesday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go to our friends over in the sunshine state of Queensland, of course, to the Gold Coast in particular, and speak to one of the players from the Gold Coast United Football Club. And of course, she actually has played down here in Melbourne, of course, before moving up to Queensland. Of course, her name's Cass. She joins us right now. Thanks, Cass, for joining us.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
No worries. Well, tell us, great win on the weekend against Southwest Queensland Thunder in Toowoomba. Tell us that game.
So I didn't actually play. I got a concussion against Logan Lightning the week before. So I unfortunately had to sit that one out. But it was very wet conditions up there. Pitch was a bit heavy. I think the girls maybe struggled a little bit to find their feet in the first half. I think a bit of a good chat from our coach Alex at halftime got the job done, and then the girls came out firing and scored 5 goals and got the win 5-1.
You mentioned about the slow start. As you mentioned in the first half, considering that the conditions were not that good at all, as you mentioned. How did the team sort of adapt from, I guess, a sluggish first half to a pretty damn good second half where you just kept scoring as it was like a dry day?
Yeah, I think it's always hard when you have a bunch of injuries. So we had, I think, a couple girls that were on the field carrying injuries, Paige Taylor, Ishnori, Key, Riv Tano. You had a 15-year-old amazing goalkeeper in Amber in goals. So I think it's always hard when you have, key players that are out and then also players carrying injuries. We've also lost a lot of players due to injuries. Taylor Stevens with the ACL. And a bunch of others that didn't come back after COVID. So I think it's always really hard. Sometimes when you play weaker sides, you find it hard to adjust to that style. Thunder this year have kind of had a style where they have kind of, I felt, parked the bus and they've been very defensive. And sometimes no matter how good you are, it's really hard to break that down. So I think in the first half, the girls just were not stringing passes together, just weren't playing the way we normally play. So I think that's why they maybe struggled in the first half a bit.
Now, Cass, you mentioned that you didn't play that game due to injury from the game before that against Logan. How's that going for you at the moment? And are you expecting to come back on the field as, of course, towards the end of the season?
Yes, the concussion kind of threw a bit of a spanner in the works. I've followed the FFA guidelines, been really heavy on the cognitive therapy, doctor's appointments 24/7. So I can't give away too much because I don't want to promise anything, but potentially we'll play this weekend against my former club Lions, fingers crossed. And then from there, it's just going to be a balance of managing my load. If I do play, I will be repping the head helmet. So, yeah.
How frustrating has that been for you to not play any games since that concussion injury that you had?
Yeah, super frustrating. Obviously with COVID, I played all the games up until then. The team did incredible. I thought we sat top of the ladder. Then during COVID, I worked really hard with Paul Jones and the senior men's keeper Aiden, like 3 times a week. I was in top form training with the senior men. And then I tore ligaments in my thumb. That put me out for 8 weeks. And I played against Mitchelton kind of on the field. Coach gave me a bit of a run. I then played against Logan, maybe came back a week too early, but they were a good side, so wanted to get stuck in. And then, obviously to get a head knock was super disappointing, and it's kind of thrown, as I said, a spanner in the works, but it's just something you got to play through and manage, I guess.
Been there on the Gold Coast in your first season?
So I actually joined this club in midway 2018. So this is my second time playing for them. So I'm loving it, absolutely loving it. I always wanted to go back, but after 2018, I got signed for Canberra United, and I just wanted to be a bit more of a professional setup, I guess, and do the double again like I did in Melbourne. When I did it with South Melbourne, I was injured, unfortunately, so I wasn't really a part of it. So that was, I guess, a personal goal. I achieved that, and I always said I'd come back if I did that. So achieved it, and yeah, here I am.
Now, you mentioned you've done the double down here in Melbourne and you're hoping to do the double up in Queensland. I guess you mentioned that you've gone back to Queensland. What convinced you to go back other than doing the double? What made, sorry, Lions, you're correct. The Lions before you went to the Gold Coast. I guess what convinced you to go back to the Gold Coast from the Lions?
Well, the TD Craig, Midgley here, I respect him a lot. As I said, going to Lions was something I chose for myself. It was a personal choice. I guess a bit of a selfish reason for my own growth as well as a footballer. And then when I found out that Alex was going to be the coach this year, because he took over the reins with Craig last year midway through, that really excited me. A lot of convincing from Alex, but I did say to Craig that I would return to the club if I achieved the double, and I did that at Lions. So I'm a person of my word, and I just wanted to bring back, I guess, my experience and give the club everything I could so we could have hopefully achieved the double this year as well.
Now let's talk a bit about your football journey. Where did it all start and why did you choose it?
I started when I was 5 years old, so 19 years ago, without giving away my age. I started because my big brother just, he used to play for Brighton Grammar, so I'd always be there running amok. And my brother thought I'd be pretty good at it, so I played with the boys up until I was about 13 years old. Got kind of kicked out of that because I was a girl and girls couldn't play with boys, unfortunately. And then from there, I played for Sandringham for the women's team. So I've been a part of the NPL setup ever since I was about 13, 14 years old. Then from there, I had a stint at Box Hill for a year. Then a stint at Caulfield Cobras when they got promoted, when it was a WPL back in the day. And then unfortunately in about 2016, I had a medical condition, which unfortunately meant my lung capacity was 50%. So I could no longer play on the field because that requires a lot of running. And so I guess the only option was for me to be a goalkeeper. So I tried out at Alamein and was a backup keeper to Melissa Maisels and was the 18s keeper. Had a pretty good first season, got picked up from South Melbourne. Played with them, I think, for about four or 5 rounds, and then unfortunately did my knee, and that put me out for the rest of the year. Rejoined them again, but then just due to some personal reasons, I chose to move to Queensland.
And how have you found being there in Queensland? And what is there any difference in the style of play in Queensland compared to Victoria?
Yeah, massive. I think for me, I only was meant to come here literally for 2018 and then go back home. What I guess draws me is the weather. The weather is so nice up here. It just makes you, I guess, more bubbly and happy because you can always go out and do things. But as for the football, I think with Victoria, I felt like you had like the pinnacle clubs like your Calder, your South Melbourne, your Alameins, that were just your Galaxy, even back in the day, that were just always top four. And I guess for me, although it was great and you were surrounded by such quality players, like really good W League players, for me, it just was like, it's the same thing year in, year out. You and I, Bulleen Lions as well in it. So I guess up here, you've got like nearly every game, you can't go into it being arrogant or cocky. Like Thunder, for example, we were down at 1-0 at halftime. Whether I felt in Melbourne, there were just teams that just dominated. And I think especially over the years, I think the league in Victoria has maybe depleted a bit. Not sure if I should say that or not, but I just feel like the league's not as good down there as it used to be. And I feel like up here it's only getting stronger.
No, I agree with that statement. And I have to ask, what does the Sport of the World game mean to you now, and especially now being there on the Gold Coast?
Everything. to imagine a life without football, yeah, I couldn't. I'm literally at the club Monday to Friday and one day on the weekend. When I'm not playing, I'm coaching. So, yeah, the World Game's everything to me. And it's really exciting to see that we got the bid for the World Cup. And it's super exciting for the younger generation. I think us, my age group, and even the people way before me, I think have really paved and carved the way for the younger generation. And we've really contributed to what it is now.
You mentioned that you coach as well. What have you learned from coaching?
A lot of things. I guess coaching females for me it's a very different aspect than coaching boys. I think with girls it's a lot more mental than it is with boys. I think as a female coach, you've just got to get to know your players. And get to know them as a person as well. They're not, at the end of the day, they're a person as well as a footballer. So for me, it's really important to form a relationship with them and get to know them on more of a personal level, and them the same with you. Like, you don't just rock up and you're the coach type thing. I think that's really important.
Of course, you mentioned that we mentioned about coaching side of things. In the playing wise, tell us a couple of players on the Gold Coast team, especially the youth players coming through that we should watch out for in the future up there on the Gold Coast.
Yeah. I would definitely say, I think she's only played maybe subbed on for us. Holly Gray would be a massive person for me to watch out for. She hasn't had a lot of senior game time as of yet, but she's just, her shots got such venom in them. Sometimes I feel like she's going to break my hand at training. So very quality on the ball. Paige Taylor, very good player as well. She's either a starter or a sub for us. Does really well on the wing. Incredible work rate. Annabelle Gibson, I'd say as well. Once again, plays right back for us, starter. I think she's only 17 years old, same as Paige. So really, really young girls who have such a bright future if they keep working at it, and probably Riley as well, who's in the 18s, I would say. Yeah. Oh, and Charlie Farmer. I can't forget Charlie Farmer, the junior Matilda. She's just a workhorse.
Now, you mentioned about, of course, what it meant to you with the announcement of the World Cup being here in Australia. I guess when you heard it, what was your emotions like? Or reaction, I should say.
My reaction. I'm really tired. Can they announce this? Was one of my reactions. Just relief. I think Australia gets snubbed with a lot of things, and sometimes I don't know why, considering I think we've got some of the best facilities in the world. For me, the Matildas, especially over the last, I think maybe 6 or 7 years, you could say, but really over the last 6 years have really shown that we're a force to be reckoned with. And I think if the World Cup was to go to anyone else, it just would have been almost rigged in my eyes. I think we were just deserving of it.
Now, you mentioned that you've achieved so many throughout your playing journey so far. Is there one that stands out to you the most?
I probably would have to. It's hard. Obviously, doing the double last year with the Lions was incredible. Probably for me, Gold Coast might hate me for saying this, but probably the biggest achievement would have been we played Gold Coast United last year in the semi-final. Lions, actually, we didn't beat them all year last year, so we either drew or in the semi-final it went to penalties. So and I saved 2. So yeah, that's probably the biggest personal achievement, because as a player that has played for this club before, it's never easy going up against a club that you love and a bunch of girls that, were like family to you. So I guess, yeah, that's probably one of my biggest personal achievements, going to Pens and saving 2 to take us to the grand final.
And what will be your advice to our listeners, especially in Queensland, that should get down to the Gold Coast and support the mighty Gold Coast United football team?
Yeah, I guess if I could say anything is, if you want to watch a team that just fights for one another and plays quality football, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of teams out there just kind of, boot the ball long, kick the ball long type thing. We have an amazing TD in Craig and an incredible coach in Alex, an amazing bunch of young players. And then you've got the likes of Momo and Ellie and D and all those players that are just, it's mesmerizing to watch. So if you want to watch a good game of football, come down and support us. Especially this weekend, we play Lions, top of the table clash. They're an incredible team within themselves. So I think it will be a really good game.
Now, quickly finish off with a couple light-hearted questions. First, who's the comedian of the team?
Am I the comedian of the team? Yeah, I'll say so, yeah.
Who is the best singer and dancer of the team?
Deanna Thompson has to be the best dancer, hands down. Best singer. I don't think we have one, but Annabelle likes to have a rap in the change room. So I'm going to chuck her under the bus and say, yeah, Annabelle.
And we'll finish off with one last one, which is, do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
Yes, I have a lot. How long do you have? My pre-game is the weirdest thing. I have to have an up and go chocolate flavor. I listen to really, as my friends like to say, depressing, sad music. I can't listen to upbeat music. It needs to be like Lewis Capaldi, Ed Sheeran, really weird, in the zone music. I have a routine of how I put everything on. So I have to warm up in a different shirt, can't warm up in the shirt that I play in. Put my socks on first. My shin pads have to be in line. My socks have to be in line. Do all my strapping. I've got an order of how I do everything. And yeah, my teammates love to take the piss out of me for that.
Well, Cass, thank you so much for getting up your time to join us. It's awesome to get to catch up again. It's been a while since we last catch up with you, Cass, and to see you again. Obviously, best of luck against the Lions. Obviously, it's a crucial game for the club, and let's hope you can get over the line against your former club and take the top spot on the ladder by the end of this weekend.
I hope so. Thank you so much for having me.
No worries. And that's Cass there from the Gold Coast United Football Club. Of course, make sure you get down to see them and support them against the Lions this weekend. We'll put all the details on our social media for our Queensland listeners out there that want to get down and support the mighty Gold Coast team of course, on the weekend.
Sorry, all the best to everyone in Victoria going through COVID. You guys are super strong. I can't imagine not being able to have a soccer season. So just wanted to say thoughts are with you, prayers are with you, and all the best.
Absolutely. No, thank you so much. And of course, guys, we've got more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away. Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM here on a lockdown Wednesday here in Melbourne. Of course, let's go up to our friends over in Queensland in particular and, of course, speak to the Gold Coast United National Premier League women's team who's got a big game this weekend in the top of the table clash against the Lions. And, of course, we've got two very special guests to tell us all about it. Thanks, both of you, for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
No worries. I'll get both of you to introduce yourselves and what position you play on the field.
My name's Alana and I play as a striker.
And my name's Taylor and I play as a defensive midfielder.
Last week, you went to Toowoomba in the pouring rain and obviously got the job done after coming from behind to beat the Thunder on the weekend. Tell us how did that game pan out?
Yeah, it was pretty stressful first half. We've been riddled with quite a few injuries, and obviously coming back from COVID off season, it's been quite tough. But we managed to pull together after the halftime break and an inspirational talk from our coach, and pull together as a team and show them what we were made of. Really,
definitely a tough game to start with, but yeah, we're not usually that slow out of the starting block. So it was a bit of probably the 2-hour drive got to our legs, I think.
I have to ask, what was the message at halftime to really spur the team up and all of a sudden bang on 5 goals?
It was just to pull together as a team, really spread positivity, encourage each other, and really just pulled together like that. The first half, we weren't playing our game, we were playing theirs, and it was really to just lift us as a team and bring back what we should have brought back, which was the 3 points. So
this weekend, big game, top of the table clash against your rivals, the Lions, in the top of the table clash. How important is this game, and how's the preparations been?
I haven't been training all week.
yeah.
Well, I haven't been training all week because I had my ACL reconstruction. But I've been talking to a lot of the girls, and preparation's been really good this week after the win 5-1 against Toowoomba. Everyone's come back in really high spirits. When you play Lions, you're playing probably the best team in the league, and they have been for quite a few years. So everyone knows it's going to be a hard game. Everyone knows they're going to have to put in 110%, and it's going to come from the starting 11, the bench players, the injured players, the coach. Everyone's just got to pull together, and I think it's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, 100%.
Now, Taylor, you mentioned that you're coming off an injury yourself. Now, I asked Cass this question when I had her on the show earlier today. I'm going to ask you the same question. When are we expecting you to come back on the field again?
Oh, God. Okay, so I won't be back till next year. So,
I am in the same boat as Taylor. I'm awaiting my ACL reconstruction in about 2 weeks. So we're in the same boat at the moment. So, yeah.
Bit of bad post-corona bad luck, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. How devastating is that to miss out on the rest of the season due to your ACLs?
Yeah, super devastating. That's really the only word for it. But we've got such a supportive club and such a supportive group of girls in our team that when, Lana can still drive at the moment, I can't, but we can still go to training and feel part of the group and go to games, and we can sit on the bench. So we can't play, but we're still part of the team, and that really helps us through.
Considering how many injuries the team's had this year, are you surprised how the team's going, and considering
yes.
in the top of the table clash?
Yeah, short answer, yes. We have struggled with injuries, and I know a lot of other clubs in our competition as well have struggled, especially with players being injured that were key aspects and key signings at the beginning of the year. So we know that Lions is also riddled with injuries. We saw that last week in their game. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's not going to be the game that it would have been previously to Corona, but it'll definitely still be a tough and very interesting game.
Now, as you mentioned, or both of you mentioned this already, it's been a stop-start year. You started the season, then you had to stop again because of the coronavirus, and then you've restarted the season again. How difficult has that been for the team? And obviously, we are on the Gold Coast. You're smack bang on that border with New South Wales, or close to it. Have you had any problems with players, I guess, trying to get into the border to get to training?
Yeah, we are. One of our star players and captain, she's actually caught outside of the bubble, so she's no longer able to play with us for the near future. So Dee Thompson, she's stuck in New South Wales and can't come to training and can't come to games anymore. So we've struggled with that, but definitely not as much as we thought that we would struggle with being on the border. So we're very lucky to only have one player that is caught out, definitely.
For both of you, how did both of you get involved in the World Game, and why did you choose it?
You can
I'll go first?
Yeah.
So I'm from England. My dad used to play for Millwall. So I pretty much grew up running around in nappies in, stadiums ever since I was a baby. I moved over here when I was 9 and started playing in a boys' team when I was 10, and that was it. I fell in love and still going at 25.
Yeah, I started off with surf lifesaving actually, and then switched over once I was old enough to start getting involved at school level. Fell in love with the game there, and found a passion, and yeah, just joined a team outside, and it grew from there. And yeah, I loved it ever since, and definitely trying very hard to get back to the game after this injury. So.
What will be some highlights throughout both your world game journeys so far?
No, both too hard.
Come on.
No, I was when I first joined and played at club level, I was fortunate enough to be the world's the Australian leading goal scorer out of sort of all the competitions. So I scored like 74 goals for that year. That was probably a pretty big highlight. And then getting involved at state level and playing in the Queensland Cup and being able to be captain of that team was an honour. And yeah, just being in the NPL here is an amazing achievement as well.
I'm a defender, so defender, defensive midfielder. I don't do much exciting stuff. But I've never missed a penalty in my life. Taken about 4.
There we go.
That's like pretty big achievement for me. And having W League trials. So being able to go to a few different W League clubs and trial and train with them for a few weeks was amazing. And I'd obviously love to play one day at that level, but I just don't think my injuries will let me. So we'll see how that goes.
Now, I have to ask, what does the sport of the world game mean to both of you, and especially playing there at Gold Coast United?
Ooh, these are hard-hitting questions. Love it. For me, football, my whole life revolves around football. I've gotten involved in more than just a player. I'm currently coaching. I previously did refereeing. So I've sort of been involved in every aspect, and I've loved every aspect of it, and what it gives me, and the feeling that I get coming off as a player, coming off as a referee, and as a coach leading a team to victory or even in defeat. So just the togetherness of the sport and how it brings people together, and what it can bring to your life in more than just a physical aspect, but the team environment and the friendships that you make are ones that you keep with you forever.
Still all mine.
Yeah.
No, so for me, it's been a big part of my life, obviously, because my dad played professional football back in England, and I'm English, so basically all I did when I was little and still do is watch football, play football. You'll always catch me at a game on the weekend. I don't do anything else. It's just my life. I could never see not having football in my life. It's just, yeah. It's hard to put into words.
Now, of course, the Women's World Cup is here in Australia in 3 years' time, 2023, and obviously we have games up in Queensland as well. When you heard the news, how special was that, and what did it mean to both of you?
It was pretty special.
I think everyone down here was super excited. Like, women's football has always been on the back pedal, and everyone kind of knows it. Men come first, but having a Women's World Cup here, I think the next few years are just going to build up women's football, and just, I think it's just going to be great.
Yeah, and the opportunities that it's going to open up for, especially the younger players that are coming through, and even players that never really thought they could get to that level or see that level sport, because sometimes it's a once in a lifetime thing, and to have that on your doorstep, it's a privilege. And I think it's going to bring a lot of players into the game, and it's going to be nothing but good to promote women's football, and hopefully see some positive changes ahead in the future as well.
Now, you mentioned about the young players, and especially the youth players coming through as in that last response. I have to ask, tell us a couple of young and youth players in your team we should watch out for in the future there at the Gold Coast.
Ooh, I haven't seen the lineup yet, but we've got a team full of young players that are
Just
coming through.
In general, Charlie Farmer.
Charlie Farmer.
So she's taken over my spot as a 6. So, but she's doing a really good job. She's only 16, is it?
Yeah, I think
15?
16,
16.
yeah.
And she's playing women's football. So I think she will be, like, give her a few years, she'll get a bit taller, grow a bit stronger, and she will be one to watch out for.
Yeah. And there's definitely some young guns that we'll have on the bench. I can't sort of say for certain without seeing the team sheet, but watch out for our substitutes, because they come on and they change the game. So yeah, very, very much looking forward to seeing them grow and giving them the opportunity as well in the women's game to get some experience and grow.
What will be your advice to our listeners in Queensland that should come down and support the Gold Coast United team in action in 2020?
Ooh.
It's a lot of energy, a lot of goals. And we're all very loud, outgoing girls, so it's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's always a lot of fun. There's a great environment, great atmosphere. There's a great bar.
When it's cold, we have heaters.
Yeah, so get amongst it. It's a great club, and it's a great feeling to be a part of.
Great hot chips.
Yeah.
It's a must-have of football club. You got to have some good hot chips.
Yes, I agree with that. Agree with that one. And of course, for everyone out there who have no idea where your venue is, whereabouts on the Gold Coast is your home ground?
We're in Tallebudgera, so just behind our beautiful Burleigh Beach.
So Coplix Family Sports Park.
Now let's finish up with a couple of light-hearted questions about your teammates. Firstly, any embarrassing moments by anyone this year?
Oh God.
Oh.
Embarrassed? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure someone face planted in a training session.
Apart from the usual, like, snipers where people just fall over for no reason.
Yeah. We haven't had...
it happens quite a lot.
It does happen quite a lot.
Pinpoint certain people. I'm pretty sure it's happened to me.
Yeah. Definitely happened to me.
But nothing overly embarrassing at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think we've had much of an opportunity, really.
We just started and
it
stopped.
Yeah.
Give us a few more weeks and we'll probably have something good for you.
All right, no worries. We'll definitely make sure we check in about a month or so to find out on that one.
Definitely.
Who's the comedian in the team?
Oh, Ellie Fryer.
Yep.
She's one of our centre backs and she is just a laugh. Her and usually Deanna Thompson, they're best friends. So them two usually are the loudest, hilarious people you've ever met.
Yep.
So, but yeah, so funny.
Best singer or dancer in the team, or who's used TikTok the most?
Ooh. Cass has used TikTok the most.
Yeah, Cass
has used TikTok the most.
Cass is definitely a TikTok fan.
For pranks and skits and stuff, not for dancing. I'd love to see it.
I don't know if Cass can dance, can she?
She's all right.
Now I have to ask this question. Now, during lockdown and sort of isolation, have either of you tried anything new, and have you found a hidden talent that you didn't think you had?
In lockdown? Ooh.
I found out I could take a lot of naps because I didn't have training.
I really just did fitness. Like I was still coming back from injury back then as well. So yeah, I just sort of
make me seem like a lazy one.
Yeah, that was. I didn't find a hidden talent. I don't think.
No, we didn't use lockdown wisely. Obviously,
no, not up here.
Two final ones. The first one is, of course, do either of you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
Ooh.
I do.
Do you?
Mm.
What?
My right boot and right sock have to go on first. So like right sock, right boot, left boot. Always. I've done it once the other way around and we lost.
Oh.
And I played awful.
I have to have a blue Powerade before a game. At least one blue Powerade, and on the way to the game, I have to listen to rap music and mostly Drake.
Of course, one last one. We mentioned about embarrassing a moment ago. Now, I'm going to ask this question. Has anyone done anything like silly or stupid at training or during a game, and or any funny-looking photos on game day?
Oh,
we have
funny
so
looking
many
photos.
funny looking photos.
Our group chat photo changes like once a week after the media release of our photos.
We have a weekly photo.
Yeah, it's like a vote on what's
most embarrassing photo.
Yeah, after every game. Yeah.
And usually there's a few contenders, so we could have an album.
Yeah,
really.
We'll have an album by the end of the year, definitely.
I have to ask, what was it this week?
I'll see if I can
check.
Oh,
I'll see if I can find it.
Who's this week's? Annabelle. Annabelle
Gibson.
Annabelle Gibson. She has the worst photo from the Toowoomba game. There it is.
Where's the up there, isn't it? That's not even a bad one, really.
Yeah, we've had worse, definitely.
We've had a lot worse.
Well, both of you, thank you so much for giving up your time to join us. It's awesome having both of you on the show. From all of us from Smash FM, and I'm sure from everyone here in Melbourne who are suffering their sports at the moment, hopefully both of you can get better really soon and make a full recovery from your injuries, and hopefully we'll see both of you back on the field in 2021.
Definitely the goal. Thank you for having us. Yeah, everyone in Melbourne, hang in there. Tune into NPL TV Sunday at 3:00.
Yeah, you can watch it on NPL TV.
Perfect. That was a fantastic plug.
Yeah.
Because make sure you as you mentioned, as the girls just mentioned before, make sure you watch that game. Of course, we'll put all the details up between the top of the table clash. Gold Coast take on the Lions, of course, in the top of the table clash, and make sure you support the Gold Coast United team in 2020, and hopefully they can go all the way and win the premiership in this current season. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right up to this. Don't go away here on the Wednesday Lockdown edition.